You at Klutch Sports. You're in charge of the football division of Klutch Sports, who's owned, we know who owns that, but also your impact as far as being a part of Klutch Sports. What does that mean for you to be a black woman, a woman of color in that particular field?
You know, I'm really honored to help lead the division with my colleague, Demarius Bilbo. Being a black woman in the field and having a title like I do is really rare. And so it's something that I don't take for granted. You know, part of me joining Klutch, and one of the reasons why I joined is because Rich Paul, the CEO, really has a mission to elevate blacks, minorities, and women. You know, our president of football is black, our president of basketball is black, head of communications is black, our COO is a woman. You know, he's really walking the walk and not just talking the talk. And so it's an honor to be kind of just even in that collective group.
Talk to me about the elevation that you had to go through as an agent, because we know it's never easy just for a black agent, period, but a woman on top of that. So what are some of the things that you had to go through and that you learned from to elevate you to where you are today?
You know, I always say that excellence is your greatest currency. I had to learn very quickly that I almost have to be perfect, unfortunately, right? I don't get that immediate credibility when I walk in a room and meet a potential draft prospect, or I meet a parent. You know, I've got to kind of always be at 100% and have my A game. And so I learned that I do have to put in 2 times, 3 times the work, whether it's having more knowledge, being more prepared, or just honestly just being outstanding. So.
No, there are a lot of people that know your name now because of the hard work that you put in. I mean, I remember an episode of All American where they actually talked about you and named your name. You're right.
That was the coolest moment ever, and I didn't know. They didn't give me any warning, so I was like, "What?"
That's how you know you're doing good work.
Yeah.
So, when you have young ladies out there that want to follow in the footsteps of what you're doing, what advice do you give them in order to avoid some of the pitfalls that you went through, but also make sure they stay on top of their game?
I always tell women, get a seat at the table early. We hear all the time about got to get a seat at the table, got to get a seat at the table, but I always say you got to do so early. You know, when we get to that CEO or board of director level, you'll find that disparity between men and women, but the disparity really happened very early on when they're at the associate level or entry level. Their male counterparts are getting opportunities in year 1 and year 2 that they're not getting. And so fighting early on in your career to be on par with your male colleagues so that by the time you get up for that promotion to be in that management role, you have the same experience. So now it's just apples to apples.
Lastly, you working with Rich Paul. We know how incredible Rich Paul has been. He's definitely shaking things up across the sports landscape. But what is it like to work with him behind the scenes, the stuff that we don't see, those of us who are in media and even the fan bases that don't see how hard he works and how he pretty much disseminates that information to you all so you guys can be great?
Oh my gosh, Rich Paul is better than advertised. That was what I will say. He is better than advertised. You know, it's interesting because he always wants to elevate his people. You know, he's kind of, I like to think I'm the Beyonce, but he'll say he's the Beyonce. But he is just so focused on making sure that every member of the team has whatever opportunities that he has. Like there's never a table that he is sitting at that he doesn't have a seat ready for me if I want to be there. And I love that, you know, and he's also just extremely accessible, whether it's to me or our lowest level employee. There's no chain of command. He's Rich Paul for everybody. And he's just amazing at what he does. I love to be able to work with him, learn from him. He's been an amazing mentor of mine, and I'm just blessed.
All right, lastly, I got to ask you this. What are you listening to decompress, to unwind? Because it's a crazy business that you're dealing with. How do you detach yourself to kind of recharge your batteries and get back to it?
Break My Soul, Beyonce, clearly. Just came out 2 days ago. It's on repeat. That's usually anything Beyonce. I'm the president of the Beehive, just so everybody knows. So okay. Just letting y'all know.
Well, it's a fire song, I got to admit, so I love it.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, the one and only NICOLE Lynn.
This is NICOLE Lynn with Klutch Sports Group, and I'm checking out Nightcast Media.